Hey friends, welcome back to the Daily Dose, coming at you today with day number 165. 165, that's going to put us into the book of Ecclesiastes, chapters 9 through 12, also Psalm number 10. If you are new with us, my name is Adam. I want to welcome you. We are reading through the Bible over the course of a year. We have got a Bible reading plan that we're following. It tells us what books and chapters and verses we're going to be digging into each day. If you need a copy of that, there is a downloadable PDF guide. You can go down below. There's a link in the description. Click on that link. Poof, it'll download to your device like magic. So, sorry, I just chugged a whole bunch of Capri Sun and it was really good. It was kind of sour too, so my mouth's kind of watering right now. Anyways, we're going to dig in and take a look at a little bit of what we've got going on throughout today's section of Ecclesiastes. Okay, the first section is about a common destiny for all. Okay, it's the beginning of chapter 9, verse 1. So I reflected on all this, just all the things that Solomon's been talking about, right? All of the futility, all of the meaninglessness, all of the chasing pleasure and chasing money, and in the end, it amounts to essentially nothing meaningful, right? So in regards to reflecting on that, it says, I reflected on all this and concluded that the righteousness and the wise and what they do are in God's hands, but no one knows whether love or hate awaits them. All share a common destiny, the righteous and the wicked, the good and the bad, the clean and the unclean, those who offer sacrifices and those who do not. Okay? The next section talks about how wisdom is better than folly, right? And so here I'm going to be picking up chapter 9, verse 13. It says, I also saw under the sun this example of wisdom that greatly impressed me. There was once a small city with only a few people in it, and a powerful king came against it, surrounded it, and built huge siege works against it. Now, there lived in that city a man poor but wise, okay? And he saved the city by his wisdom. But nobody remembered the poor man. So I said, wisdom is better than strength, but the poor man's wisdom is despised, and his words are no longer heeded. Sometimes that's true, right? Sometimes we can tend to believe the words, or AKA the wisdom or the advice of somebody who is famous, or somebody who is well known, or somebody who is wealthy. But if somebody tries to give us words of wisdom and it's someone who is poor or someone who is, say, homeless in the current vernacular, right? Even if that person is right, people tend to not value their input or their opinion or them at all, right? That just kind of seems how it is sometimes, unfortunately. We need to be valuing wisdom and honoring wisdom in those who are wise. From there, it talks about investing in many ventures, right? So, have you ever heard people talk about putting all of your eggs in one basket? If you've got one basket and you're carrying all your eggs in them, if you drop that basket or if it gets stolen, you're out of eggs. That's it. But if you've got two baskets and you divide your eggs up, if you drop one basket, you're only going to lose the eggs that were in that one basket. If one basket gets stolen by a purse or basket snatcher, right, you've still got the other ones. So that's kind of what they're talking about here. Investing in many ventures. Diversify your portfolio, right, in current language. It says, ship your grain across the sea. After many days, you may receive a return, right? And again, it's saying, look, if you're going to ship your grain across the sea to go be sold or whatever, well, hopefully, if the people do what they say they're going to do, and they go and they sell your grain, hopefully they're going to come back and they're going to bring you back however much money they agreed to bring you back for selling it, right? But then it goes on to say, invest in 7 ventures, yes, even 8. You do not know what disaster may come upon the land. Sow your seed in the morning, and at evening let your hands not be idle, for you do not know which will succeed, whether this or that, or whether both will do equally well. Now, I think that you could take this in a number of different ways, and you could apply this to a number of different situations and scenarios. But again, I think that the main point, at least to me in this, is don't think you've got it made and sit on your laurels. Have a backup plan just in case, right? Have a couple backup plans just in case, because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to succeed. If you're a farmer, you might end up getting a drought at the last minute. You know, your crops are getting ready to grow. Everything's planted. Everything's looking good. But all of a sudden, here comes a drought. Now, you're going to have no crops to harvest at harvest time. You're not going to be able to sell anything or make any money. Do you have a backup plan? What else are you doing to try to help bring income in? These are things that a wise person will look at, right? The next section talks about remembering your Creator while you are young. It says, remember your Creator in the days of your youth, before the days of trouble come. Remember Him, before the silver cord is severed, and the golden bowl is broken, before the pitcher is shattered at the spring, and the wheel broken at the well, and the dust returns to the ground it came from, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. So here it's talking about remembering God. I'm not sure what it means by remembering, though. I would, from a New Testament perspective, I would look at that as remember God. Remember what He did through Jesus on the cross. Remember your faith. Remember God's love for you. Remember the salvation that He provides for those who repent and believe, right? Remember that. Walk with God and do it in the days of your youth before trouble comes. Because sometimes when trouble comes, it might be too late, right? It might be too late. If we don't develop a firm foundation in faith when we are young and when life is oftentimes going relatively well, right? I'm not saying everybody has a good childhood, but I'm just saying, generally speaking, general rule of thumb, when you're a kid, normally life is easier than when you're an adult, okay? Yeah, you've got to go through growing up, and you've got to go through learning life lessons, and you've got to go through puberty, and you've got to go through school, and bullies can be very cruel. I get all that. But I'm just saying, when you're a kid, you've got to worry about playing, going to school, and playing. You know, I mean, really, my daughter, she plays, she goes to school, right? She plays, she goes to school, she has fun, we do stuff together. But all in all, life is not super stressful for her. But once you get older, then you got bills, you got a job, you got responsibilities. You really have to do things that you don't like, whether you like it or not, or else you're not going to have a job, right? So what I'm saying here is that it would behoove a person to walk with God when they are younger and start off at an early age. That way they start to build that relationship and build that faith and build that trust, so that in later years, when more difficult situations arise, they have a good, solid background of faith and a solid relationship with Jesus to rely on, right? I kind of think that's where they're going with that. So anyways, thanks for being here. Appreciate your time. And hey, until we meet again, deuces.